Good morning, everyone. This is Merlin Gonzalez here in Indianapolis. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather, sunny here in Indianapolis. Colors are vivid and vibrant with, the glimmering shine of the sunshine. It's very, very good. But welcome to the 85th um, Table Talk. And believe it or not, this is our seventh year anniversary. The first time that we did it was at IB Tech 7 years ago, and we have not skipped a month on this table talk. So, for some of you who might be watching this a little later, or for the first time, Table Talk was put together for the food pantry so that we can collaborate. And then it grew to bringing other community resources partners and so that we can help build capacity and also to work coordinately as well. So the topic of our um, Table Talk is the many facets of food access, and I will introduce later our guest. You have seen that already at the email that I sent to you or on the Facebook. It's Milele Kennedy, and we will do the introduction a little later. But let me just start with prayer. Lord, we give you thanks today. Thank you for this beautiful day. Just ask, Lord, that you guide our conversation, Lord, to glorify you, and Lord, to be able to bring the community together, to help one another, to bless and to be blessed in the process. So, Lord, guide us in Jesus' name. Amen. So, before we get started, I'd like to update you as far as what's going on in Faith, Hope, and Love. We just finished our Crushing Hunger motorcycle ride on October 1st. And we were able to triple the number of bikers. And at the same time, also, we were able to raise 10 times than last year. Of course, this is just a second year, but that's a great stride. 10 times we were able to raise the fundings that we need. Also, you heard about what's happening as far as the food access. Again, as we know, food access is beyond food pantries or food distribution, because some of our neighbors who are food insecure may not be able to go to food pantries. Mobile food pantries is good. Pantries are good, and all of those are needed. But again, I think this is one of the gaps that we were able to fill through our new division that we have started, which is the food delivery. It's called United Food Missions. So, want to share with you some of the things that you can take a look at as far as the resources concerned. This is our website, and then also we you can see our new division, which is called United Food Missions, which is dedicated on the delivery to the homebound who cannot go to food pantries and also who are food insecure. Of course, Facebook, you're already here, and then also we do have a YouTube that you can access. So this event today is also recorded, and you can watch it a little later, or I encourage you to connect it, send the link to your, um, especially the food pantries. This topic today is very, very important, whether you are food insecure, whether you are a sponsor, whether you have a food pantry or thinking about having a food pantry, a food bank, whether you're in communication, whether you know of anyone, or maybe you yourself is in need of food assistance. We have opened our four missional neighborhood hubs under the new division again, which is United Food Missions. The first one is Fabicard Glick, which is in the northwest side of town on Michigan and 71st Street. Actually, that's one of the anchors in the community. If you haven't yet, visit them. They just had a fundraiser today, so it's a good way to also support that part of the city. We also opened the South Side, which is Cross Church. This is in on Madison Avenue, and then in Castleton. So we're able to cover now part of the northeast of Indianapolis for food deliveries. And then recently we opened St. Vincent de Paul, which is the east side that covers some of the Martindale Brightwood area, Irvington, and so within 8 miles radius of that. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest today, and this is Milele Kennedy. Let me just uh, show you her. She is the director of the City of Indianapolis Division of Community Nutrition and Food Policy and co-chair of the Indianapolis Food Access Advisory Commission. Welcome, Milele. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Milele, I'd like to, you introduce yourself and also maybe 5 years ago what you've done, and then what brought you here to the Division of Nutrition, and then some of the things that's recently happening in the city with regards to food access.
Thank you, Merlin. It's really great to be here today. It's always wonderful to have an opportunity to share about my job, the work that I do in the city. I have been with the City of Indianapolis for going on 17 years now. I started off as an educator working with out of school time programming, and then had the opportunity to start to get involved in the food system. And so this has been a learning opportunity for me over the years to really dive deeper into the food system, to learn more about our residents and our neighbors and what it is that they need to be healthy, nutritious, and that's really what drives me, is to keep learning more and doing more to provide resources to our residents. So about 3 years ago, I started in the Office of Public Health and Safety as the Food Policy and Program Coordinator. That is a big and broad title that really was just about learning more and doing more for our residents in the food system. And that led us to do lots of focus groups to hone in on those partners within the food system and what those partners needed, what our community service agencies needed, and then to look at what can we do to make a difference. I was in the job for about 5 months before the pandemic, and then that really highlighted the need. We suddenly had a really great emergency food need within Indianapolis, where we needed to work together through our partners and agencies to ensure families had food. And as part of the Indy Hunger Network, I was able to really get a lot of information in a short amount of time. And that led us to utilize our data and our partnerships to think in the city about what it is that we need to do. How can we make a sustainable and long-lasting difference within the food system? And so Ordinance 337 was drafted, and that created our division, the Division of Community Nutrition and Food Policy, as well as the Food Advisory Commission and the Community Food Access Coalition. So these are three different parts of the working parts that work in tandem to be able to address all of the food needs of residents within Indianapolis and Marion County. And so that it's just been a great opportunity to be the director of that division and co-chair on the commission to help to do both the internal work within city county government that's needed, but also the external work that's needed along with community partners to be able to make a difference for our residents.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Um, yeah, we heard about the Ordinance 337 that created your division. I'm just, on the personal level here, I don't know how you can manage all the intricacies that you are involved with. You talk about internal, external partners. You talk about the focus groups. How do you, from your point of view, I always thought about asking you this, is that from your point of view, how do you manage and how do you put maybe compartmentalize or maybe coordinate these different functions in your department on your desk?
The first thing that we had to do as city county government is say that we have to stop having this top down approach to reacting to the needs of our residents. The food system is really broad, and there are amazing partners out there. We found that out, during COVID, that we have great institutional partners, but we also have amazing community partners that know their neighbors, they know their residents, they're out there every day, they know what to do to make sure that people get food. And so getting away from this top-down approach to this kind of from the bottom up grassroots approach has really made a difference. Trusting our partners within the food system, we have an amazing two amazing food banks, Midwest Food Bank and Gleaners Food Bank, and then we have a fantastic food pantry network, of hundreds of food pantries within Marion County, and being able to just support instead of saying that we know what needs to be done. And so a lot of that was just taking a step back and saying, let's listen to these organizations and support those organizations in doing what they do best. And that takes a lot off of my shoulders, knowing that there are such great partners out in the food system. And the other thing that we did is we divided things up so that everyone had their part and their way to participate. The Community Food Access Coalition is a great way for community members to have a voice, for residents to be able to interact with what's happening within the food system. And we have quarterly meetings that not only gets information out, but it allows us to garner more information and to hear more about what's happening in community. And a lot of it is just about listening. We know that there have been, these long-standing disparities within the community. We know that, low food access has been an issue that has, been just plagued many parts of Indianapolis and many communities within Indianapolis for generations. And it really was about, how do we listen more and then provide those communities with the support that they need.
Yes.
And so that's been a large part of it. And then within our division, we have built capacity over the past year. So we do have a food equity and community engagement coordinator. And like the title says, that coordinator is only engaged out in the community, talking about ensuring that there's equitable access to healthy and nutritious food for residents, and working with community partners on that engagement piece. And that has made a big difference as well. Just having someone that's only dedicated to those relationships.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you talk about food equity, and this is something that I know that the city, the state, even at the federal level, is to provide not just quantity but also quality of food to the people. Actually, Faith, Hope, and Love is almost finished, the agreement that we have with one healthcare organization here in Indianapolis. We're going to target the diabetic individuals who cannot go to food pantries or even really. So we're going to personalize the bags of food that they can pick up, or we can actually deliver to the patient. So it's not finalized yet, but we're finalizing that now, and hopefully we can make an announcement here very soon. So again, for those of you who just join us, we have Milele Kennedy here from the city of Indianapolis. I call her the czar of food pantries. In a good way, all right? Yeah, she oversees. So basically, she oversees the operation. But as we heard already, she talks about to stop the top down approach, but to listen more. So a little later, or even now, you can actually comment here. Just like here. Kisha, and we can just put your questions or comments. She said that healthy food resources are necessary, and yes, yeah, we know that. So I encourage all of you to participate in this discussion. So Milele, you mentioned something about the information and the support. Faith, Hope, and Love works with smaller to medium-sized food pantries that really need a lot of resources, a lot of help, volunteers, food, and maybe space. So that's why we are targeting the smaller to medium-sized food pantries. And as far as the information and things, we are working on that. We have introduced that. I think probably close to 15 years now. We were using Excel, and then through the help of the city, we are actually developing a software that hopefully on time and also more accurate and less tedious also for the food pantries. So Milena, could you speak about why is information gathering is important in the food access thing that we're talking about here?
We are in the technological age now, and so we have had to learn to be more innovative in how we get food to our residents. We also need to be more data driven and be able to utilize data to help us determine if a program is working well, if we are providing the right services to the people that need them. And so data is really important. One of the things that we have done over the past 3 years is to really lean into um, all of the different individual ways that we need to meet families' needs. So it cannot just be this one size fits all approach. We started off developing Community Compass, and that started off as an app where families can be able to find food pantries, other food resources, such as farm stands and farmers markets, SNAP and WIC certified grocery stores. But we realized that Community Compass needed to be accessible to all people. So that is not just an app; it's available by text. It's available online on communitycompass.app. And so that's just one example. We also know that people all have different needs. One big need is around transportation. And so we looked at the numbers and we determined, a lot of people don't necessarily need free food. They just need transportation, to a grocery store. And the Lyft Grocery Access program provides $1 rides to and from the grocery store for any Marion County resident. All they need to use is the Lyft code Feed Indy, and that gets them 8 rides per month. And so it really is utilizing data to determine programming. We also know, Merlin, like you mentioned, that there's large food banks that do an amazing job at getting large amounts of food out. But then there are just community churches that might want to have their own small food pantry to be able to support their parishioners or maybe their neighbors specifically in their neighborhood. And so all we need to do really is to listen and then to utilize the data to develop different programs to meet all of these different needs. So really stepping away again from that one size fits all approach to how people receive food and what types of food people receive. And that's a large part of food equity, is ensuring that residents can receive food when they want to, how they want to, and where they want to. And that is really the basis of food equity for our community.
Yes. So you talk about food equity, and probably some of our people or listeners or watchers are thinking, what is really food equity? On that, could you elaborate more as far as from the practical point of view? What is food equity mean?
It really starts from the understanding that all residents are entitled to healthy, nutritious, culturally relevant foods, regardless of the ability to pay for those foods. And it really dives, we can go really deep on this topic and do a whole hour just talking about equity within the food system. But really, it comes down to respecting our residents, their choices, and their needs, and ensuring that we're listening to those needs and helping to provide for those needs.
Yeah.
And so that means that we have to think about, especially culturally relevant foods, and other, not only just culturally relevant, but the health impact and the dietary needs of residents when it comes to food.
Totally agree with you, Milele. It's very broad. It's a lot of aspects in the food access, including the food equity, and again, from the frontline point of view on this is that um, you know many of the food pantries, or I would say all the food pantries, are really looking for culturally relevant food and also healthy food. And again, this is part of the training that Faith, Hope, and Love does. That beyond just giving away food is that you talk about the equity, the food justice, the healthy choices, the culturally relevant food, or maybe dietary needs of individuals. So, as a community, how can we really bring this together? And we are already chipping that, thanks to the City of Indianapolis for the support, the churches. And I think I just want to call on the churches again, because the churches is the largest volunteer base that we have. And 70% of all the food pantries are church based. So again, just calling on the churches that hey, you don't need to have a food pantry, but you can support another food pantry nearby, or maybe you can deliver food. You can actually, what we call the mission trip in your own backyard. Back 20 years ago when we first started, it's just like, hey, we do have mission right there in our own backyard, and mission is not just fixing leaky roofs or painting or cleaning the streets, but actually it actually involves not just the food but also that personal relationship that we have with people. And sometimes again, we've seen it happen, and probably Milele, you know this very well, that when you go to a food pantry, sometimes the it's all the packaging there. It's more than just bag of food or things. All of that's important, but again, the relationship building. That hey, you're not just a number here. We know your name, and if you allow us, we would like to connect you with other community resources, because again, food insecurity could be just a symptom of many social challenges in people's lives, as you mentioned. um, you know Transportation, and again, just want to shout out on that one. Let me see if I can get the comments here. That Lyft, I saw it on the TV actually. I think just last week they had just like, hey, $1 ride at Lyft, and that is, for those of you who are listening, and you may say, hey, I don't really need food. I have money. I just need ride. So this is another thing. So for some of us that say, hey, how can we really do this? And we're already doing it. It's just a matter of the I would say being more personal and intentional in really coming alongside, working together, because not one organization, not just the government or churches or businesses, all of us coming together, then we can put this together. There's always space for whether you're an individual, whether you're a small food pantry, you're a big food pantry, you're a transportation, and so on and so forth. So again, for those of you who are listening, if you do have any comments right now, just share it with us, and we will post your question or your comment here. So, Milele, there's we were talking about information is very important, and there's an event that's going to provide a lot of information and even connecting resources to the food pantries and with the food pantries. Could you talk about that? What's happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we will have the Food Pantry Summit. This is held by Indie Hunger Network, and it is a wonderful opportunity for food pantries around central Indiana to gather together and to be able to get share in information and have sessions about different topics of interest for food pantries, but also just within the food system in general. And so this is one of my favorite events of the year to be able to participate in, because our food pantries do so much for others and give back so much to the community. And to be able to have this opportunity at the Food Pantry Summit to gather together, to share in our experiences, to become more educated on topics, to learn more from each other is a wonderful opportunity. So that Food Pantry Summit is tomorrow at Second Presbyterian Church. And there will be an opening session there, and we'll have a panel discussion, and then we'll have additional breakout sessions throughout the morning. So it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to come out and connect.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too myself. So planning to be there, a couple of our staff, and also I'm just we shared it with our network of food pantries here in town, and hopefully I'll see all of you or some of you there at Second Presbyterian starting at 8:30. Now, is this already full, or if this is the first time that some of our people have seen, can they still go tomorrow?
It is not full. There is still opportunity to join in and on the summit. And if you don't have the opportunity to participate, please make sure to go to the Indie Hunger Network site, indiehungernetwork.org. There is just a whole list of resources for food pantry. There are best practices for food pantries. There's lots of resources online there at the Indie Hunger Network website. So if you do not have the opportunity to attend, please make sure to check out their website for all of that information.
That's great. Yeah, I want to add something here. There are some people that some of us may not be aware of the needs in our city, in our state. We are 15th largest city in the U.S. And there are some many people who are food insecure, and I just googled this, so I just want to share it again. Just I think one of the things that we shared earlier was that um, that the beginning of change is awareness, and maybe some of us don't are not really aware that this is this is really an issue that together we can work together. So you have the 13% of the population, and 23% are children in Marion County. And so I encourage our listeners, so you can see, all you have to do is hunger in Marion County, Indiana. You can take a look at that. Now we're just sharing this with you, um, not to alarm you, but again, information is very important, and also being aware is really a start of change. Now, what can you do? So I think we come to the point now, Milele, is that as as individuals, right? From your perspective, what can an individual? Because we're talking about organizations, and as you mentioned, you want to stop the top down approach, and it could be from organization also to the individual. So, if I am an individual, um, and would like to be part of this, and I just don't know, what are the quick and practical things that a Marion County individual could do?
Um, well, you mentioned the statistics, right, around food insecurity in Indianapolis. 1 in 4 residents is food insecure. So the first thing that we can do is really think about what that means. That means that on your street, either the neighbor to your left or right, or across the street, is going to be food insecure. 1 in 4. That is a staggering number. And so it really, the first thing to do is really to stop thinking about hunger or food insecurity as something that happens to other people.
Hmm.
It's a quarter of our population. It's our neighbors. It's our friends. It's the families that our children go to school with. It's those that we worship with. It's those that we work with. So it's really important to frame, what that number really means, what it really looks like. And then the other thing, that's the first thing. And then the next thing to do is say, like, how do I want to be involved? If you want to just learn more, you can go to our website at indiefoodpolicy.org. It gives a lot of information about what we do, ways to be involved in the Community Food Access Coalition, and then other partners that you can be involved with and support. Um, every food pantry doesn't need the same thing. So think about what you can provide. Maybe you have the opportunity to volunteer. If you would like to volunteer, on our website, we have quite a few. We have an event calendar and the opportunity to come out and volunteer at outreach events. We can also connect you to different food pantries that might need volunteers. If you do not have the time to volunteer, you can always donate as well. Many of our food pantries struggle with all of the other things that come along with food distribution. We have a great network to get food uh, to our agencies and to our food pantries. But there's all those other costs involved. There's also all of the other things that families need beside food that we try to provide when possible. So anytime that you can donate to a food pantry or a agency in your neighborhood or in your community, try to do that. There are also lots of other ways that we are trying to get food out into the community for our residents. Many schools have food pantries. If your school doesn't have a food pantry, there's a great opportunity to start a food pantry at your school. And many other places. Maybe you want to reach out to a neighborhood park or a family center that might have programs or opportunities for support, or other community organizations. So there's just a number of ways to be able to get involved as an individual, and we need that support in any capacity. Building awareness is the key to the start of that, and then finding those resources and ways that you can participate in those.
That's yeah, that's wonderful, Milele. Thank you for sharing that. So again, building awareness, and we heard about again, not just the churches. Of course, majority of the food pantries are in churches. So if you or you know of anyone who may be needing some assistance in food, you can call your local church. Also, you can go to let me look in here, indiefoodpolicy.org. So let me just post that again. So it seems like, there's a lot that we can learn from this indiefoodpolicy.org, whether you are in need or whether you would like to help those in need in the community. Also, many schools have food pantries, or even, if you are part of a school, a charter school, a small school, or academy, maybe you may want to talk to the administrator, and look into maybe becoming having a food pantry. And let me tell you what we share with the smaller food pantries, smaller churches, smaller to medium sized food pantries. You don't need to serve everyone. All right, it doesn't mean that, hey, we are small, we only have like 20 congregation members, or maybe we only have 5, 10 staff here in our little academy, that you can't. Hey, one, can we do just one, sponsor just one food insecure individual, whether it's delivering, whether it's providing the food that they really need, health wise or culturally relevant. Just sponsor, just like Compassion International or whatever. Let's just sponsor. You don't need to have an organization, right, Milele? You don't need to have an organization, a 501c3, in order for you to help someone in need. It could be a fellow congregant, maybe a co-worker, that a single parent, and or maybe an elderly across the street. These are the things that I think that sometimes we become so busy, not that we're just neglecting it, we're just so busy and we don't even think about this. So there are a lot of resources out there. It's just a matter of coordination, communication, of course, and logistics. So, Milena, we are getting closer now to ending our event here. Let me ask you a personal question. Why is it important for you? Because from your position in the city, that's a lot. That's a lot to coordinate. I can imagine how it looked like in your world. But what keeps you going? What keeps you doing this? And so from your personal, not just in the career, job wise, or what, from your personal point of view, what would be your message to people?
What really keeps me going and why I am so passionate about this is, one, it just comes from lived experience. I was born and raised in Indianapolis. I have seen the disparities within our community over generations, and experienced that firsthand. And so I've watched my parents struggle to put food on the table. At times, I struggled to put food on the table for my three children, and so it is personal to me. But then also, there are there are just things that food is one thing that we all have in common. Eating is the one thing we all do, regardless of race, gender, background, culture, anything. We all eat, and that is it's just one of those fundamental needs that no family should have to struggle with it. No person should have to struggle with. And so it is very easy for me to champion this work, and to encourage others to get involved in this work. Um, and so it is an honor, it's a privilege to be able to be a small part of what so many organizations do and what so many others do to provide food for our residents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and all of us can do something to help the food insecure individual. And again, this is just food insecurity is more than just lacking food. And again, that could be a symptom of some things of challenges in people's lives. So you may say, "Hey, you know what? I just don't have food," but you may have a car to bring somebody to grocery store, or you may say, "Hey, I really don't have enough money." I tell you what, in we are still in COVID. Thank God that it's we proclaim it's disappearing, now and forever. But we are still on that, and many people, especially the homebounds, many people are hungry in relationship, spiritually, emotionally. And Milele, this is what we found out. We have dashers who are the drivers who come to us and say, "This changed my life." Just delivering food to an individual, an elderly who is homebound, not because of his or her choice, but that's the way it happened. And he said that sometimes delivering food, the food is only secondary to how we relate with people. Imagine, and some of you, and again, I encourage you to share this afterwards. Some of you may have elderly parents. Some of us, I have elderly parents. Some of you may have mentally, physically handicapped individuals in your life. Maybe you yourself. Again, handing out food is one thing, but really in the process of handing food, giving food to others is another thing. There are people that think people, because they visited, not just in the food, but more importantly is that they are seen, they are remembered, that they need. We have really, that's why it's very important now, with not the mental wellness of individual. And you can see that, from the societal point of view, if we are mentally, emotionally unbalanced, a lot of things in life is affected on that. So So Milele would like to just ask you, what's would you like to share something, anything else that you would like to share before we end this segment?
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's always wonderful to be able to share about what I do with others, and connect people to our website, indiefoodpolicy.org again, and to additional resources in our community. So it's great being here. I encourage everyone. Um, to stay in touch and keep finding new ways to participate and engage in our food system. We have some really great things that are coming into Indianapolis, so on the horizon. So we've been talking a lot about food insecurity today, and we're really honing in on not just food insecurity, but nutrition security. And so I'm really excited about opportunities to be able to share more about nutrition and nutrition education. Uh, I love recipes. We've been now in neighborhood outreach, we put recipes out there. So we're working on getting more recipes and more cooking into our website to help people know what to do with that food that they receive. It's a great opportunity to connect. So one last time, indiefoodpolicy.org. It's a great resource. And thank you again for this time.
Thank you, Milele. So just want to plug in as far as again tomorrow at 8:30 is the Indie Hunger Summit at Second Presbyterian, which is here on Meridian and somewhere in 70th 75th Street here in Indianapolis. You are all invited to that. A lot of networking, collaborations, connections that's going to happen there. And I'm really looking forward to this new thing that you're talking about, Milele, the nutrition security. I like that phrase, nutrition security. And so the next table talk is on November the 10th, and we will announce that our guest speaker for that. But you don't want to miss also the December 8th, which is the 88th. Okay, so December 8th is the 88th, because this is 85. November is 86, no, 87. It is the 87th monthly table talk, but this time it is in person here at Indiana Interchurch Center, which is at 1100 West 42nd Street in the second floor. So mark your calendar for that. And Milele, I would love to have you there also. We will have probably some councilmen coming also, of course, churches, business people, and other nonprofit organizations that are coming as a celebration of what we have done and looking forward what we can do, all of us do together. So again, that's December 8th at 11 o'clock. Lunch is provided, so that will be up to 12:30. That's Thursday, December the 8th. Is the in-person table talk here at Indiana Interchurch Center. So again, thank you so much. You have the information here now. You can gather a lot of information from this Indie Food Policy .org. And you know what? Before I let you go, Milele, what what we as an individual could assist you, um, to do your job or to help what's going on in our community.
I encourage everyone to get involved in the Community Food Access Coalition. We have quarterly meetings, but there's the opportunity to be able to participate in committees based on that are around different priorities within our food system. And it's just a great way to start to network with other like-minded individuals that want to um, participate in the food system in Indianapolis. And that registration is on our website, so that's something that you can do. But we really are looking forward to engaging more and more residents through the coalition.
That's wonderful. All right, well, that's all we have for now, and I will just close in prayer, and then we'll officially close this segment. Lord, we give you thanks today. Thank you, Lord, for the information, the conversation that we have, Lord, today, and Lord, I pray that this is not just information, but that this will hopefully this conversation will trigger something in people's lives, Lord, the listener, whether they're already helping and serving, or if not, that Lord, something may be have been talked, have been discussed in this segment that will move them to the next step to help to be together in this alleviating hunger here in Indianapolis. In Jesus' name, Amen. Milele, thank you so much. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay. Goodbye.